It feels very hard when you don't get the response from management, or whether it's a owner or management. You're trying to tell something and they don't take any notice, and you get some frustration about that. Because I have a lot of experience, and sometimes I get annoyed when people don't use your experience, and suddenly your experience becomes wasted. And wherever, if the restaurant is quiet, you would expect people to ask you why the restaurant is quiet and what can we do about it. Sometimes, they ask, you tell the reason, but they don't take any notice, and that's the frustration part of it. You see, English people don't really want to be waiters. And the ones who do, they realize halfway through that there is not enough money. And because of that, you created this sort of barrier, towards, the people you're able to get. They would do as a career if the money was appropriate, was, acceptable, but it's not.
None of my contracts are definite. They're all a few months here, or they only last for a year, or they're a bit uncertain, or they're really short hours. So it's just a case of fitting as much in as I can, so that if one goes, there's still others to keep me going. I just think there's always the uncertainty, particularly if you work in one-to-one. There's so many things that can, stop your job from existing. It can be that the child leaves, it could be that your probationary period stops through disability or illness, or it could be a million. It could be funding. There's a lot of funding. If the funding's cut, your job's gone. There's so many. You never know quite what's going to end your job and when your job's going to end. And even if you've got a contract, it's not that you've got a job for life. Well, I've been at one school volunteering when the teaching assistants weren't allowed in the same staff, bit of the staff room. There was the teachers area and the teaching assistants area, and I just thought that was a bit, but most of the time it's working together. And I think obviously teachers are valued more. They've got all the training that they've done. They've got a lot more knowledge of the curriculum, and they've got to do the planning, so rightfully they're valued more. The schools I've worked, particularly one of them, there's been no hierarchy in one of them. You've got head teachers doing the swimming, you've got head teachers that are pitching and helping with the dinner ladies, and it's just, you wouldn't know from looking who did what job. But then some that have volunteered, and it has been a set hierarchy, really, that as soon as you walk in, you know who's in charge, you know who reports to who, and I prefer it when you walk in and everyone pitches in with everything. It feels like more of a group and a community then.
We don't have any set timings for work. Sometimes it starts early, sometimes it ends late, and at times, for days together we work late into nights. Like last Saturday, I went home at 12, Sunday went home at 12, Monday was my day and night, and yesterday I went home at 12. See, days together. There are no set working hours. This is one thing that bothers me a little bit. But other than that, dealing with people. Whenever we are trying to correct people, it's a real challenge, especially when we are booking drunk driving cases. Then it's a challenge to, talk to people, book them, and some are trying to hit us, some are trying to run over us, and a lot of people who try to abuse us. We have to deal with all these things. If you are dealing with computers, it is simple. It has a problem, you will try to solve it. It will not talk back. But when you deal with human beings, it's very difficult. Some are very cooperative, some are not so. Some people, for them it is their question of ego. This woman officer is booking. And some people, especially when we deal with people wherein we are trying to correct them, then it's a real challenge.
My speciality is personal injury work, which is basically road traffic accidents, accidents at work, tripping and slipping accidents. So I've got a significant caseload, and I'm purely based on trying to get those clients an admission of liability from the other side, and thereafter compensation for their personal injuries and any losses or expenses they've incurred as a result of the accident. I'm targeted each year by the firm to bring in a certain amount of fees for the firm, and I'm rewarded if I manage to do that, and if I don't, I'm not.
My motivation for working hard is because it's duty and responsibility. I think that's why most doctors work hard. I don't think status is the driver for people working hard. Well, it isn't for me. It's duty and responsibility and enjoyment of the work as well. I think people expect a lot of their doctors. You know, so being a doctor is a huge responsibility, and people quite rightly expect a great deal from their doctors, and that's probably also a driver.